with Chris Johnson.
Episode 7 with my boy Javier Reyes of Animals as Leaders, Mestis. He's a great 8-string guitar player, one of the pioneers in the field right now. We're going to talk about guitar picks and perspective and music that we enjoy. Check out some of Javier's music on the Players Pick podcast playlist on Spotify. So you got a pretty cozy spot.
All the guitars, and then I don't have any neighbors over there because it's the hallway.
Oh, that's sick.
No neighbors there. No neighbors there.
So it's just one here.
Yeah, it's my roommate, but he's never gone. He's always gone.
Oh.
So the only neighbors really is the ones upstairs.
Oh, upstairs. So you have a decent amount of volume.
Yeah, I mean I've gone even like at 2 a.m. without, having to crank it. And
That's
still
cool.
get to do shit.
That's ideal, especially in a city where everybody is so close quarters. No matter where you're at, really, it's like to get a little bit of space.
Yeah, it's
key. Well, this is a Players Pick podcast episode number 7. It's Javier Reyes for Animals Leaders and Mestis.
Yeah.
And Javier is a good friend, thankfully, and I'm also a fan of his work with both outfits. He's not only just an amazing 8-string guitar player that is on tour and writing and recording with Animals Leaders with Tosin Abasi and Matt Garska, but he's also a producer and he's doing a lot more producing work, which is really cool. I've been hearing a couple of pieces here and there, stuff you're doing with Minnie Joe and like with Prashant and doing different mixing gigs, and that's all really interesting stuff too for me, and I'm sure for you, as it's
absolutely. Before Animals, I was mixing mainly full time, so it's nice to kind of get back in that seat a little bit more, even outside of my own projects.
Cool.
For the last 8-9 years, I guess it's just been pretty much Animals or Mestis mentality. So, But I guess after a while, you're like that creativity still flows, and you're like, all right, I want to do other stuff again.
Yeah, it helps diversify the whole scenario.
Absolutely.
So you don't feel stuck in one area, right?
Yeah.
And you like record and produce and and mix the last couple Animals records, or it's just the last one?
I did the last one and Weightless. So the second one and
The fourth.
Yeah, and the fourth album.
Okay.
Cool. Pretty much.
And so what was the one in between there? The third one.
Joy of Motion. We had
Joy of
Nolly get
Nolly.
good,
Yeah.
produce it and mix it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I think probably learned quite a bit when I was just seeing what he was doing. So
yeah, he's pretty hot.
Pretty good.
With all the things. Yeah.
He's a pretty talented individual.
Yeah, you guys don't run with slouches anyway.
No.
I mean, you guys are all pretty high caliber.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of doing self-production has been also, finding people that we can work with, and then there's amazing engineers and amazing producers out there, but we have our ways, and sometimes they don't get it, and we don't want to. And we know our process, and we know it works. So.
And the other thing, I mean, almost part of like Animals, like you could have a bass player, but you don't, and like not and that's keeping it to a 3-piece and like keeping it tight and like close, and just in that way, like you're in so much control. And so when you add it to that element,
I mean, I think the no bass player was also kind of consequential. When we first started, we didn't have time to look for a bass player. We just needed to go on tour. So we had the drums and 2 guitars. We're like, all right, that's the bread and butter of the band. We'll worry about the bass later.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think through touring, we just realized that having 3 people in the band was enough as far as like making decisions. We didn't want to have any moments where it was going to be like a 50-50 split decision sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pay also is a...
Totally. Who wants to add another guy to the payroll if you don't have to?
Yeah, and considering the band and how... I've known a lot of really, really good musicians, and for some reason, really, really good musicians comes along with,
price.
A price at usually an intense personality at times, you know, myself
yeah,
included. So it's just another one to stir into the pot that isn't quite necessary. I mean, not to say that we will never play with a bass player, but I mean, just not in the band, like, permanently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least.
Could be a guest spot someday. Yeah. Yeah. So what are you working on right now? Like, what's your?
Been producing this girl named Minnie Jo. I've been doing. This more. She's a more like EDM kind of R&B-ish sort of singer.
Yeah.
And then doing a bunch of songs for like TV and film sync stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, it's been kind of fun, you know, really stepping outside of the prog metal stuff and kind of writing, you know, an indie song or literally a singer-songwriter song or copying a straight trap beat, and just it's kind of all over the place. So
yeah, I heard that one cover you did with Minnie Jo.
Right.
And that was, I mean, I knew it was gonna be good because you guys were both stoked on it.
yeah.
But then when I heard it, it was just like, wow, like this is it's really good. And I mean, she's fantastic. But I guess I for whatever reason, just not knowing what to expect, I was just overly surprised by the production and what you produced in that track is really special.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
there's like no guitar,
Dude, I know, and that's why it's like, you know, it's really cool to hear that from you, one of the guys on the forefront of like being very guitar centric. You know, you're able to like compartmentalize a bit and like let that be what it is. And
yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, we can collaborate and I can noodle all over the place, but it's not really cohesive for someone who's doing legato singing notes and you know, falsetto notes and whatnot. So
you let that be the show. You let it be the star of the show.
Exactly. Yeah. And you mean even with Minnie, I don't know if we'd ever perform together. I think her thing needs to be her own thing. I'm cool with just I have enough stage time with Animal, so
sure. she needs some. She's
great. She can perform. I've seen her a couple of times. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, she gets. I know she's doing gigs fairly regular, but like if she gets a real record together with you.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're trying to do like an EP together. So
that's exciting.
Yeah,
I'm excited
cool.
for both of you on that.
Yeah, we have one song pretty much complete, pretty much done, and then have two other ideas kind of we're just floating back and forth with.
Cool.
But, yeah, I mean, we don't have an immediate time, but I think sometime next year we'll have an EP.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, you know, Players Pick podcast, we talk about picks, and, you know, I'm always interested to know kind of just a little insight as to like who might have given you your first pick, if you remember that very first one, or the early days of picks when you first started playing, and like maybe what it was.
I remember I probably got my first electric when I was like, I want to say like 9 or 10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, and it was just like it was a Dean 6-string from the local mom and pop shop where I was taking lessons at. And you know, they have these huge jars of like buy 5 for $1 sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd just be like, sick, here's $5 and just grab a cool color plethora of picks. It wasn't until, you know, maybe I was like 13 or 14 where I was like really getting into like specific guitar players, or a fan of, you know, Dimebag or Malmsteen or Petrucci or stuff like that, that I started maybe paying attention. I think the first pick that I remember like being like, this is my pick. Mm-hmm. It's like the green Tortex
88.
Yeah, the 88. It was always between that and the blue, but I remember the green kind of being the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so popular.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Something magic about it. I mean, Dimebag played it. That was like his primary pick too.
Yeah. You know, over the years, styles change, and you know, I started realizing that different picks have, you know, different effects.
Yeah.
Or they make you play slightly different, so you start experimenting. But you know, that's always kind of been the bread and butter. Every time you grab one, it's always like, all right.
Mm-hmm. So you found the green Tortex like just in the shop like one day as you're kind of like.
Yeah, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna spend, you know, $1 for a single pick.
Yeah.
or whatever. I can't remember what they cost back then, but yeah, I just remember experimenting. I would try to, they always had these huge trays that had like
Yeah.
all sorts of little compartments. So, I would at the store I would be there pretty regularly when I was taking lessons, and I kind of probably just started experimenting a bit and putting it back and grabbing this other one, and eventually just kind of getting used to that. I would go back and forth between the green and the lighter orange one.
Oh, the 60.
Yeah.
Okay. You skipped the yellow. You didn't.
I didn't like the yellow. Well, yeah, the yellow was just kind of. It wasn't soft enough, and it wasn't hard enough.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. It was Goldilocks, but it wasn't like your Goldie. It wasn't your porridge.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I kind of stuck on that for the longest time. Really, I mean, it wasn't really until I started touring with animals before I was like really started going all over. With experimenting, using jazz threes. I remember trying jazz threes.
Was there somebody that introduced you to jazz threes at all, or?
Probably Tosin.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a while ago. I think he was playing those a minute ago.
Regular size or the original or the XL?
Little red ones.
Oh yeah, so the nylon regular size. Yeah.
I think that, but I just never liked it was always too small for me. Yeah, so I always kind of stuck to the normal size one. I had that I think I used, even with starting with animals, I was still using those for a minute.
The green?
Yeah.
Oh, really? The beginning
of
of animals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of sticking to that.
Well, by the time, was there, what were you guys playing when we started working on your pick? Were you playing Ultem? Were you playing the Ultex Jazz 3?
Yeah, I think so. They weren't normal Jazz 3s. They were like slightly bigger.
These are the XLs.
Yeah,
the
that's what I was probably using.
Okay. Of the red nylon ones, or
no, they were like black or something.
Okay, so there's black nylon, there's red nylon, and the clear, like kind of like the translucent amber ones are the Ultex.
Yeah.
Ones too, but
that's what we ended up kind of.
I couldn't remember because I know I came down and we started going through.
We
all
started
those.
when you introduced the Ultex one, and that's when we started like, oh, this is going to be the
in a prime tone, yeah.
Yeah, the prime tone is that one tone.
The brown ones, yeah.
Yeah, which I'm still a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so now you know all these years later you have a signature pick with Dunlop.
Now I have a signature pick with Dunlop, which is pretty rad.
Yeah.
I got to design it with you.
Yeah. The green, and are you still on the greens mostly?
I'm still on the greens. Yeah, for me actually they're like the perfect thinness and width. I've like used the brown ones too that we have, and there's just a little the same thing when I first grabbed them, when I was just like, I want to go just a hair thinner, and we were like, okay, how are we gonna do this? It's the same. I still feel that every time I grab it. I'm like, this is just too. I don't have enough grip, or
it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right. So, but the green ones, I kind of love how they feel.
And I wonder about those things sometimes, because sometimes we see we do it with our eyes, or just color. Sometimes it's color wise, like people pick up and they're just attracted to the color, right? Sometimes there's an actual physical, like even if you were a blind test with it, you would still feel it.
I probably could know.
Yeah.
There's something about the finish of it too that's slightly different.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways, and Jimmy's grew up in this business, right? Learning from his dad, who is, the first real innovator in pick technology, because he like before his dad color coded like the Tortex, and then actually put a thickness on each one of them. Said this is a 73. Before that, it was just like light, medium, heavy, extra heavy, and there was a much larger variance allowed. It's like you pick up a celluloid heavy, and you micrometer like 5 of them, they'd all be within, one would be a little bit more, a little less, and now like that was like a bold statement at the time, kind of like to say, hey, you're gonna get an 88 with every one of these greens. You get a 73 with these yellows, so that was part of that kind of process. And then Jimmy has expanded upon a lot of his dad's stuff, and that's why you get prime tone, asymmetrical bevel.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
That's
pretty awesome.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty. Making the signature pick was pretty cool, considering I think over the years the styles of pick requirement has changed because of different types of playing that's happening. I never was like a crazy sweeper before, and then with animals I always had to do these little riffs that having a sweep and all that stuff that serves to help out. Definitely find it easier with the signature pick now than when I switch back to like the normal green picks or something like that. When I grab them now, it's almost like it's not quite as smooth. I'm kind of used to the signature.
Well, it's probably nostalgia, but like we just said, like the Tortex has a flat kind of choppy edge, even if it is tumbled, and your pick is made to be super smooth.
Yeah.
But it's actually part of what I was going to ask is, what do you feel like this signature pick kind of does for you? I mean, like, it's a 73. It's a thin Ultem.
Yeah.
It's probably, I think it might be one of the thinner gauges I think we can even make for Ultem in general. With a grip, I think it might be the thinnest you can get. So what does that do? I mean, instead of using a thick Jazz 3, like, what do you think that?
Well, I have like a good amount of surface for me to grab on, to the pick. The grip, I remember we tried to make it as thin, but have the grip still be pretty substantial.
Yep.
So, because I was having, real-time problems on stage where it's like, hey, I'm all sweaty as hell. The grip is great when I'm not sweaty, but once I get sweaty, it starts sliding all over the place. So I think when we, thinned it out a little bit and kept that grip a little bit nicer, it just stayed still. So that's a huge advantage for me,
Right.
Especially for like touring purposes.
Sure.
Sometimes you do these venues or you're just rocking out so hard that you're just sweating bullets, and it sounds like a cheesy problem to have, but it's definitely a serious problem when you're like playing the hardest thing you know how to play on guitar.
Oh yeah. It's nice to have a little bit of comfort here and there wherever you can to like.
Yeah, the last thing you want to be thinking about is one, your instrument or the tools that you're using while you're trying to execute this gnarly ass part. So just kind of having that strong, at least grip for me, and then also with the thinness, like I think we got a good balance of some type of give when you're smacking it pretty hard, but if you're playing pretty lightly, it feels as solid as a super thick pick.
It's cool. Yeah. So was there any other picks, like it was just kind of like Tortex Green was kind of the first main one, and then like Jazz 3, and then
I probably experimented a bit with those weird the straight 3-pointed stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I was just like, I don't know, that was probably in my 17, 16-year-old trying to be all thrash, listen to Overkill and wanted to just play real fast all the time. But
sure.
that went away pretty fast.
Yeah. And when you were taking lessons, you're talking about taking lessons, was that back in D.C.?
That was back in D.C. Yeah, I just started off at this little mom and pop shop that had really good teachers.
You born and raised in that area?
I am born and raised in D.C., yeah.
Yeah, you were just back there, right? The family's there.
Yeah, I was home for Thanksgiving. It was pretty cool. It's nice to always go back home. It was cold.
Oh, man.
Not used to it anymore.
But you get acclimated to this California weather, man.
Yeah, I'm spoiled.
Well, so yeah, I mean, that part of the other, aspect I like asking people is, to see if there's some sort of perspective on life or perspective in your creative endeavors that you can offer. Is there something that kind of helps you stay creative or kind of keeps you balanced in life?
I mean, yeah, I think I'm always kind of on this goal of always just trying to do cool, new, extra stuff. I think I have a short attention span, and so I'm always constantly looking for something new, and I kind of pushes me to keep doing it. I mean, even when I get stuck with my own writing, I'll force myself to just try to be more creative or try to just be, you know, unique.
So what would that look like? I mean, do you set it down and take a step away and like?
Absolutely.
You know, or
absolutely. It'll happen while I'm like mixing too. You know, there's times where I'll just wake up and start mixing right away. I need a break. I'll just put some TV on, grab my guitar, and start playing or start writing something. You know, just there's noise in the background, but I'm like, at least I know I want to keep myself busy, and I'll just start working on a tune. After a few minutes of like doing the same thing and getting stuck with that, I'll go back into, you know, mixing, and if I don't feel it, then I'll start working on some other project. If I can't, you know, sometimes you're just like, I don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah, you gotta take a break from it completely. Yeah. I mean, I know a while back you were doing a lot of CrossFit and like yoga stuff with Tosin. Like, are you still doing that?
Yeah, for the most part. I still work out. I took a couple months off just to like give my knees a break. I'm starting to feel my age, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, but working out's always going to be a thing for me. Like I've done it for a long time, and
that's cool.
Yeah.
So you've had a lot of it's been a lot of success here with animals and Mystique on the side too. Like that's grown.
Yeah, it's definitely grown. I got to tour it this year. That was actually really cool. It was a weird change of pace, you know.
You took the Intronaut Boys with you.
I did on the U.S. run, and then I had Joe Lester come out. Dave couldn't come out because he had hurt his wrist doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Punk.
Well, I mean, you know, you can't hate him on. No, he's been doing it his entire life. No, yeah,
I love Dave.
Yeah, he's a great dude. And he just, you know, hurt his hand, and luckily, a buddy of mine from DC had just moved here, named Rob Wolk, and we started rehearsing with him for these songs. Now, and eventually, I was still in the process of like finishing the album. I was gonna on one of the songs. I was still gonna use the demo Superior Drum, you know, samples that I had, and during the rehearsals for that week run, I was like, well, maybe I should just bite the bullet and track him, you know. And yeah, ended up tracking him for the album. He's in that song Medianoche.
Oh, cool.
And that was cool. And then I did a run in Europe, opening up for Pliny.
Sick.
And that was cool. It was, and I had Simon Grove, who plays with Pliny, and then Chris Allison, who the drummer for Pliny as well, play for me. We ended up doing the same thing in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just pretty. It was awesome to do it. You know, it was awesome playing with other people too. I mean, that's kind of been the other thing about this year. Has been with Joe and Rob, even with Eric Moore doing the album, and then playing with Chris and Simon. It's been just super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was nice, you know, playing material that I pretty much had the only, you know, decision making for it.
It's your baby. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, playing it live and kind of seeing the reaction and seeing people, you know, being stoked, and it also sounding like translating live well, because I think that was, at least for this type of music, even with animals, we have, you know, there's always a fear of like, okay, is this song going to translate live as good as it does on CD?
Yeah.
You know, or
will they get it?
They get it?
Yeah.
You know, yeah, particularly like the Mystique stuff is very Latin-y. There's some stuff that is very pop, or I mean, so far. The new stuff is even further from any prog metal stuff that I've been, you know, more known for, if you will. So it was cool to see the people being like, oh, well, this is cool, as opposed to being like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work in Europe. But they ate it up, and same in Australia, went really well.
That's cool. I didn't really recognize or realize that you were able to take that project that far on tour.
Well, yeah,
it was just the U.S. I didn't know that it actually went and did.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I wanted to be able to bring Rob and Joe with me, but you know, considering the circumstances, and it is an animal, so the guarantees for it aren't the same. I was
Totally.
like, I gotta do. It's either not go, or just go by myself and figure it out.
Cool.
Yeah, which isn't as cool. I mean,
it's something you can get away with, like clinic tour or do something like that, but it's
not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah, so going and play with those guys, it was super cool, and Pliny was nice enough to like accommodate, making sure that they had enough time for them to learn my material. There was always good, sound check time to use essentially for the rehearsals, because ain't no rehearsing with those guys.
but those guys are so good that you guys can get by with doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first show in Paris, I was kind of nervous. I was like, man, what is this gonna sound like? Fuck. And we did like 2 or 3 songs, and I was like,
it's all good,
solid. This
nice,
is cool, And that was also the comforting thing too. Like, plenty of times your first show I was in my head. There's like first show of the tour, or especially like a new project. First show can be like horrendous, if it doesn't go the way you want it to go. But everything sounded great. Like, it sounded like we've been a touring band. Like, we've had our tour chop. So, I wasn't playing any Animals material. They weren't playing any Pliny stuff. But it definitely, the amount of live performance practice, if you will, definitely came through.
You all have extensive, especially Simon and those guys. Like, they've been covering for David Maxim and a whole host of people they've been filling in. And he's got Simon's got the Helix Nebula, and
it was cool. I mean, at this point, I've toured with Pliny and Simon. We've done the world twice.
Wow.
Yeah, because we took them out with Animal. We've done all, Australia, Europe, and U.S. with them.
And I saw the U.S.
So, and Simon has gotten the most stage time. When we did the U.S. tour, it was Intervals and Pliny.
Oh, right.
And it was the same thing.
He's the same guy for everybody. Yeah,
he's the man.
So that kind of leads me to ask you too, is like what is there any in your travels, like especially since you've been doing this world touring thing like quite a bit in the last few years, is there any like bands you've come across or artists you've come across that like that might not be that well known that you're like, dude, these guys?
Yeah, there was a Norwegian band that I liked called 22.
Okay.
They had an EP, and maybe an EP was the one that I kind of gravitated to more. So they had a full length after that, and then they broke up. But I think they just recently got back together.
Okay.
And it's like super cool. I don't know. It's kind of this almost like 6-string Telecaster-y, Meshuggah-y sort of riffs, but with Mars Volta type singing.
That's fun.
Very creative. I mean,
22.
Yeah, 22.
They're on Spotify or whatever.
Yeah, they're on Spotify.
iTunes.
I'll after this I'll
send me.
I'll show you some stuff, and
okay.
It's pretty cool. I mean, they're just a band that I think the sound alone is niche, but I like that sort of thing. That's what that's what makes me like, ooh,
Yeah, this is like a new flavor I haven't heard yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of anything that's like extremely original.
Dude, speaking of which, you turned me on to Dirty Projectors.
Yeah.
Years and when you first came when you came up to the EMG thing with me, you told me and my buddy Pete that was running the cameras about Dirty Projectors. And Pete was the one that actually ran off with it and was like, I'm going to check out that band that Javier told us about. And he came back to me like after you left, and he's like, dude, that band that Javs talked about was sick. Like, let's like smoke this and let's listen to this.
It's kind of genius.
It's really genius, right?
Yeah.
And so in that dude David Longstreth, he kind of like took a break for a minute, and he's back now. He's put out a couple of things.
He's put out like 3 albums since he came back, but he's come back hard.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
And it was really interesting. I what was it, like probably maybe a month, or it's probably been 3 months ago now. I just follow his Instagram, right? And I noticed there was more activity because they dropped an album like late 2017 and just dropped another one. and I dig his approach. I love his vocals. It's a little bit of an acquired taste at first.
Absolutely.
But once you tune into what he's up to,
it's genius.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's genius.
And then I was watching the Instagram, and I don't know, I noticed that he was kind of like interacting a little bit. So I sent a private message.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yo, like, Dunlop, let me give you some pics. Like, you're so amazing or whatever. Like, just hit me up.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear anything back for a while. And then all of a sudden I got this message in my inbox, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I love Dunlop. I use Dunlop picks. I use the orange ones, and I think I have a couple MXR pedals, and
Sick.
he's like, if you want to send something, here's the address, send it out. And I was like, oh man, I kind of got a little awestruck because I wasn't really expecting him.
Right.
I was like, oh, it might be a PR person or something.
Sure.
And he hit me back, and then he's like, oh, here's my number, just like hit me up. And he's like, want to come to a show? And I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden I looked at the schedule, and they're doing like 3 nights in Oakland.
Oh,
So just about a month ago, I went and saw him live for the first time and got to meet him.
it's amazing live. Amazing.
And he's an amazing guitar player.
Yeah,
That's what I didn't know.
I was gonna bring that up because there's a couple albums where you hear him playing, you're like, he's not a good guitar player. He's just one of these guys that just gets by, sort of thing.
Totally, I thought that too.
He has this. Sometimes it sounds sloppy or slightly rushed or not rushed. But then you see him play live, and you're like, oh my god, everything is so deliberate.
Very deliberate.
So deliberate. It's everything is part of how he's singing the part, and then sometimes he's playing a crazy ass little lick and singing all sorts of like.
How recently have you seen him play?
It's been a minute. It's been a long time.
Because you got to see him now, because the band, almost everybody in the band is kind of fresh, except for I think the bass player. He's got I think
he's got 2 girls singing now. Not the 3, right?
Oh my god, the 2 girls singing. Oh my god, dude, I told him I had to. I was like, David, it's like when I first walked in and they started playing, and these women were doing the backup vocals with him. It sounded like they were lip sync. I thought they were lip syncing. It was to
it's all the hocking stuff that go back and forth.
Back and forth. It sounded so good. I was in disbelief.
Yeah,
and I was there actually. Moon Zappa and I went to the show together in Oakland, and I said, "You stay here. I have to go walk around." Because I'm not really believing what I'm hearing right now. She's like, oh, whatever. She was just having a great time with it, and then I like there's no tracks here, man. Like this is all real
I saw them.
shit.
I saw them at Glass House here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was like when the Swing Low Magellan album came out.
Yeah.
It was so they still had all the singers to like the.
There was 3 of them.
It was 3 of them, yeah, and they did the whole talking thing, and it was incredible.
Well, see, I think there technically is 3. I think that there's he's got one standalone that does some extra percussion, and then he has a female guitar player.
And that might be the same girls.
That I don't know. Maybe I think he said that a lot of them are fresh in this particular. I don't know how there might be somebody from that era, but the female guitar player, she is sick, and I didn't realize how much doubling.
They do.
Stuff and trading off, and that's another like little eye opener. And then the drummer also sang.
Wow!
So there was like 4 people
in
the way.
An extremely impressive band to watch live.
Just and again his expression with the vocals and when you see the expression in his face,
it makes sense.
It makes all the sense, and it connects it. And then it's almost like the whole unpacking of the sound. Is the first part of kind of experiencing, and then like I'm a fan of good lyrics, and he's a poet,
and he's a poet,
dude, and he's a interestingly positive guy that twists and turns the words in all these neat ways and flips things on its head, and
doesn't make it sound. It makes it sound more like I wouldn't say nonsensical, but it doesn't sound. It's always a good little story though.
Yes. But I kind of noticed especially with the last 2 records, listening. There's a couple of songs on there. I can't.
He did the album where it was all like it was him and just a single producer.
Oh, really?
The electronic stuff. You know the band Battles. I
Yeah.
forgot this guy's name, but it was one of the original guitar players that left after the first album.
Mm-hmm.
He got together with John Longstrength and made this whole album. It's unbelievable.
Really?
It's like he put out 2 albums within like a year apart, and then maybe like 2 years ago. Yeah, I want to say 3 albums in 2 years, because one just came out like a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's
right,
real fresh.
And then one came out. I want to say early in the year.
It was late 2017.
Late 2017.
Yeah.
So then early 2017, he
had another one.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'll have to go back and look.
It's like a darker album.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
it
it's
is
so cool.
It's very good.
So cool. I mean, yeah, that band will never stop being original. I love that band. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, you're a genius. You're a genius. You're a genius.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm all fanboy over, and I was like,
yeah.
And I felt bad too, because I was like, I got to hang out and talk to him for a few minutes afterwards. Me and Moon went back and talked, and
sometimes
I was like,
it's hard to keep it real.
I was like, keep it cool, and then I oftentimes I'm like hanging out, I'm like, yo, it's cool to take a picture. He's like, my hair's all messed up, not tonight, bro. And I'm like, that's fair, dude. Like, I get it, like he felt sweaty, and I was like, I don't want to be a jerk about it, But yeah, wow, thank you. So in retrospect, just like, thank you for turning me and Pete on to that.
Well, dude, you turned me on to Anderson .Paak.
That's still one.
I did.
Are you into this new album?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually saw part of this TV production stuff that the song that you heard that I did with Minnie was for a Motown remake that we were working on.
Right.
We did another Motown remake, not with Minnie, but with the producers that I'm working with. And I totally started ripping off Anderson .Paak, just that super shuffly, like, shuffle groove sort of thing. And I was like, oh, I'm so gonna use this. This is where I'm going with the song.
What a solid drummer, man!
Right after listening to that album,
yeah. This record, I'm still absorbing it. Like the Oxnard record, like all the Dr. Dre element that kind of seeped in. And
I like that it's like a band album.
Yeah,
it's very much a band album, and they produced it great. I mean, it sounds like a hip hop album, but it's a band. It's a full band,
Yep.
I think it's been a long time since that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, like the Roots are kind of the ones that like.
But they would have album versions, and that once they're using sample drums, and it's just like a normal.
It's true
thing, and then live they would just play the real thing.
It's the later Roots albums that really kind of like started being more band albums, right? Like Concept-y records, and but I'm just saying they set kind of a standard in some ways. But this is a different thing.
This is a whole different,
and
he plays the drums.
Dude,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was say the first time I saw, I got. It's funny because I was talking about my buddy Pete earlier. So my buddy Pete, EMG TV. We used to work together there, and he would run the camera. He was like, for a while, he was talking about his buddy Kyle. He's like, my buddy Kyle's friends with this guy, like talking about Anderson .Paak. They've been in drum school together, and so they just kind of go way back, and they know he knew the DJ and the band and stuff too, and he put on a couple of songs from like the first record the first like main record, Venice, and I was like, oh, this. Your buddy knows this guy? Like, I mean, this is pretty tight, Like, he's all over the map. He's like not just this kind of hardcore thing. He's not just a smooth dude. He's like, and he's not just singing. He's not just like rapping, and he's not necessarily singing or rapping at times. Like,
he's great storytelling,
and another poet with like, there's a lot of hidden little nooks and crannies in the lyrics. Right?
I think, yeah. I mean, he's genius. I think he's one of the. Also, like an extreme unique rapper. Especially where rap is, or where hip hop music, at least for me, there's a handful of guys who are probably still going to be here, or who are going to be the lifers. Yeah, he's definitely there.
He's hit it.
Like, I think he's just so unique that he's going to inspire so many fucking people.
Well, I started like listening to Venice, and almost by the time I was just kind of getting into that, Malibu dropped. And I was like, and I realized that I had made plans to go out to the Roots picnic in Philadelphia, probably 3 years ago or something now, and I saw them on the bill. I was like, oh man, I'm so excited! I'm going to try to get back and like meet these guys because it's just I'm such a fan now, and maybe they want to use some Dunlop stuff or whatever, right? And but I get there in the set, and I didn't know the cover of Malibu has Anderson sitting at like a piano, and I kind of just thought, oh, maybe he's a pianist that like, or a keyboard player, writes that way or something, because it's just like artsy, like photo that kind of turned into the album artwork, and then when he came out as the front person. I didn't even notice there was nobody sitting at the drum kit. I was just like focused on him and the band, but
right.
They just had a drum track,
right? And
then it was like probably the third tune, and it was I think it was like Your Heart Don't Stand a Chance, I think, and he just like goes back, he runs back and just like jumps on the drums and just starts slaying, and the vocals like were so perfect,
solid,
like his breath control,
it's kind of unreal, like how he's rapping.
It shouldn't be that good,
yeah.
But it is.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And so then I like was so stoked, and I had my all access pass because Kirk from the Roots just takes care of me every time. He's such a homie. And I wrote, as soon as the set was ending, I dashed. Actually, Angel Vivaldi was with me. I took him out to that because he met me. He drove up from Jersey. I'm like, dude, let's go. And like, so we skidded back there, and right as Anderson was walking by, like, yo, dude, like, what's up? I'm like, I got some gear for you in the band. Let's talk. And he's like, oh yeah, let me introduce you to the band. Come on back. And so like he pulled us into their green room, and we're like been friends ever since.
That's cool.
And I've been following that, and it actually the last couple times they came through, they were hanging out in the green room before the show. And Anderson's like playing all the tunes. He's like, "Oh, check it out." He's like, "Here, check it out. This one's gonna be on the new record. I don't have the verse done yet, And
cool.
and we just that's like how he warms up. Just like hang out and like have some shots, like smoke some joints, and occasionally drop some acid right before he goes on fucking stage or something.
Oh
Like there was.
I can't imagine.
It was that dude. I mean, he's legit. Like he talks about drugs and all the whole deal, and like
yeah, I mean. Absolutely.
I watched him like we smoked some fatties and we had some drinks. He loves Hendrix gin, and then we like somebody brought back a tab for him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be peaking about mid set." Right?
I can't imagine.
I was like,
does he play drums like that way?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was like, I would be a bowl of Jello. I probably wouldn't even remember my name at some point, and this dude slayed. I was side stage for that whole thing, and that was at Outside Lands in San Francisco. And then as soon as he came off stage, he was like, "Dude, I'm so high right now. Like, let's go watch Radiohead. Radiohead's about to start." So we got on a golf cart and like got escorted over to the Radiohead set. I lost it. I was
on another level.
I was not.
I would not be able to do that. The last time that I shroomed I haven't done acid in forever, but the last time I did shrooms and played guitar, I was like, it felt so foreign to me. I was like, I can't take it away.
Yeah.
It's like I can't think and then that's never mind the performance.
Yeah. That's just like being around in a comfortable space, and you're like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was unreal. It's like the legends of like Jim Morrison, like and the old school like doped up like folks that you hear these legends of like them taking uppers, downers, coke, and everything, and they just hit the stage and then just give this flawless, memorable performance that will never be done again. And you're like, that is a different breed of person right there.
One time, I ate some brownies, some weed brownies, and we were doing a live stream for Toontrack. And I remember Ryan Van Peterroy from
from DTP.
Yeah, he had given them someone brought him some for like at the VIP, and he just had this huge jar of brownies, and he was like, "Yo, you want some?" And I just grabbed two of them and just ate them. And he's like, "Yo, would you do it?" And I'm like, "I'll be alright."
Yeah, I'll be alright. Famous last words.
Well, dude, I remember like before stage time, Ryan comes up to me. He's like, "Dude, you are lit." He's just like, "Look at you. Are you gonna be all right, dude?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, we'll be all right." And I remember going on stage and killing it. I had like a flawless show, right? And I remember right before, I think it was like just Tosin and Matt were looking at me. They're just like, "This fool," you know. It's like, look at him. Better keep his eyes open. But and then to see the footage live afterwards, they had me hell of loud. For some reason in the mix, they just had me real loud, but I played awesome as hell. I was just like, sick. I'll eat brownies any day before a show.
Yeah. There's something magical about the edibles, though. Like, I mean, if you get the right ratio in your belly, it's almost like you become kind of superhuman in a strange way. I mean, like, I know it's not everybody can handle it, but I have had some experiences with edibles where I can't explain it. I felt like absolute Superman. Like,
I've had to stop with edibles. I can't really deal with them anymore. Yeah,
I don't do it very often, but
they're usually too much for me.
Yeah, like I'm like 5 to 10 grams, like split up over a couple of hours.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah, because I never, if I do anything more than that, then I'm like,
yeah, I mean, I guess maybe I should give it another try. You know, I don't know. We'll experiment while you're here.
Yeah. I got some pineapple edibles in the car. But yeah, was there any other up and comers that you wanted to shout out?
Up and comers,
or any any new music that you're listening to that you're stoked on?
I started listening to this producer. I mean, it's not guitar related, but this guy named Lo-File. I think he used to be in the band Issues.
Issues.
Yeah, which is actually a really cool band. You should probably
really?
check them out. Yeah, they're a bit periphery-ish, you know, but more pop. Phenomenal writing. Crazy cool rhythms, awesome tone. Yeah, I'm surprised you don't know them.
No, that's good. That's why I ask people, because then I find out.
Yeah, people should definitely check out Issues. So I think one of the original members left, and he does all sorts of cool like EDM production stuff. He might even help out with Issues writing still, but super talented band. Yeah,
cool.
Singer. You know, could probably be rich and famous if he didn't sing in a metal band and was just singing in pop bands. But they kill it. You know, I don't know. Maybe he is rich and famous. I just don't know. I mean, but
he is now that you mentioned him on this podcast, because millions of followers, are going to be listening
all over from 7 continents.
That's right. Well, that's cool. I'll definitely check them out. I'm on an interesting place with listening to music right now, because, as you know, I'm teaching yoga a lot, and even though my primary focus for just for myself of listening to music is I listen to guitar-based stuff of all kinds, of mellow to you, to you guys and Meshuggah and whatnot. But the big relief is oftentimes stuff like Anderson .Paak and hip hop based. I love Logic. Logic is my favorite MC right now.
So I think he's a DC guy.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, definitely. And another DC guy, Odyssey.
Yep.
Dude, that's my other favorite MC. Super underrated.
He's been around for a while too.
Yeah, long time. That's the interesting thing. I started working with his bass player, and I pulled up the catalog, and I was like, oh, dude, this guy has been around. Yeah. He's flying under the radar.
Tours all over the place.
Yeah, he's way bigger outside the States, I guess.
I remember when I was doing the hip hop stuff back in DC, I'd always hear about him, the rapper in the band that I was in. He's like, oh yeah, my homie Odyssey. He just took off to Europe. He's doing a bunch of tours over there. He's just big over there. I was like, all right, cool. And now he's grown. I think he has a special on Netflix or something.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, I think so. It's a whole documentary now.
Odyssey?
I believe so.
Wow, I'm interested.
He's a light-skinned dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check him out. I'll check that out. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting with music, because there's so much with the making playlists for the yoga public. I'm scavenger. I find myself going through all these different kind of positive pop songs. Pop and rock and trying to find an interesting mix, and so I end up listening to a lot of.
Have you heard? I don't know if this would fit yoga class, but You might enjoy it during a yoga session. I don't know, but you know Christian Scott,
I don't.
trumpet player.
I don't know.
Very cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Christian Scott.
Christian Scott.
Okay. I'll earmark that. I'll check that out.
The Tigran Hamasi and stuff.
Yeah.
He's always pretty amazing. But I don't know how yoga-y.
Yeah, maybe not.
He's a little bit intense at times, you know?
Yeah.
But the Christian Scott's pretty cool. Like, it's just it's all over the place too, but it's not aggressive.
Yeah, okay. Well, the interesting thing about the classes that I use like pop music in is it's usually like hot yoga classes that are kind of more on the workout side and not like the traditional.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yoga stuff, and
So you want some like
I mix it. I'll put Deftones in there. I'll put Odyssey in there. And I have a kind of like a double arc.
you should definitely include that lo-fi stuff then.
Lo-fi.
He's got 2 tracks that I'm kind of all about right now. It's called Common Sense and Pneumo, Newmo.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty just solid songs in my opinion. You know?
Okay.
It's like damn, yeah. You know.
Cool. Now I got some new stuff to listen to
Yeah.
and check out for sure. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, man. Of course, appreciate inviting me.
Yeah, it's always nice to hang with you.
Cool.
We'll wrap it up. This is Players Pick Podcast, episode number 7. Javier Reyes, Animals, Leaders, and Mestis. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Let's smoke that shit.
Yeah.
Players Pick Podcast, picks and perspective with Chris Johnson.